No one was home. No one to stop me. For 2 relentless hours, I had crafted a secret self, and now the mirror held its breath with me. The sweater clung to borrowed curves, the royal blue skirt revealed more than it hid, and pantyhose turned my legs into something dangerous, unfamiliar. White sneakers gleamed like spotlights, earrings swayed with every tremor of my nerves, and the slash of red across my lips dared the world to believe. In that silence, in that fragile moment, I wasn't just dressed, I was someone else. And once I stepped out the door, there would be no turning back. I grabbed the black purse, made sure I had everything, then walked out of the house and straight to my car. It wasn't a very long drive, and I was soon at the school. I was dressed exactly like a cheerleader for a reason. There were tryouts today, and I trying out for the squad to be close to my girlfriend Valerie. I didn't plan on being accepted. I just wanted to try out to impress Valerie, which is why I am dressed this way. I parked the car and made my way to the gym, then stood in line to add my name to the list. Almost every girl was dressed like I was, meaning a short skirt and sweater. I wore my sister's old outfit. When it was my turn, I gave my name as Nicole and was assigned a number. Since I'm only 5'6", tall and not that husky, I fit into my sister's outfit pretty good, and my long hair fell into a flip without a lot of struggle. I heard my name called along with several others, and went through a series of moves that I thought were quite easy, including doing a cartwheel. Smile a lot and do what they wanted. That was my motto. Then, when it was over, I sat in the stands with the girls to hear the names of those chosen. There would be 12 in all. Since I did not want to be picked, I really didn't care about that. All I wanted to do was impress my girlfriend Valerie with my devotion to her. This was all a charade for me. Then I heard my name being called. The girls on each side of me hugged me, and I had to walk down the aisle and stand there with the other girls that had been picked. I was now a cheerleader, and unless I did something, I would be committed. I didn't know what to do because I had no plan for this happening, so I stood there as a pin was attached to my sweater by the coach. I did see her wink at me. When all of the others had left, the 12 of us sat on the lowest bench, while the coach handed out papers that detailed our schedule for the next year. It included all games for basketball and football. Then, as I read through it, I saw that I would be required to attend 3 balls, with escort, hosted by the school just for the cheerleaders. This was going from bad to worse, and I was desperate to get out of it. I almost jumped up and quit right on the spot. Then the coach dismissed everyone except me. I selected you for the squad before I was sure, but now I am. You're a boy, aren't you? Yes, ma'am. But I only did it to be with Valerie when she goes to the cheerleading camp. You realize that some deserving girl has been cut because of this stunt? Yes, ma'am, and I am ready to quit right now. I'm sure. But I don't like quitters, and I'm sure that you don't either, so where does that leave us? 1 short? My attempt at levity was all wrong. I should have kept my mouth shut. I don't think so. You tried out as a cheerleader and were good enough to make the squad, so I think I'll just keep you. But ma'am, how can I attend school and be a cheerleader? There won't be enough time for me to change, and then you have those balls scheduled, and they require an escort. I can't do that. You can if you become a full-time girl. Oh, no. Oh, yes. I'll make the arrangements with the office. The cheerleading camp, which starts a month before school starts, is 2 weeks away, so you have that long to tell your parents. Make whatever other arrangements you need, then report to the office for enrollment as Nicole. I can't. My parents. I'll be calling your mother tomorrow. I'm going to tell her that this stunt of yours has deprived a girl of a chance to become a cheerleader, and it's only fair that since you won the spot, that you fulfill your obligation. I'm sure she'll understand, don't you? By the time I left the gym, I wanted to cry. 16 years old and dumber than a post. The guys will not understand this at all, and I'll be lucky if I don't get my butt pounded into the sidewalk a few times. About the only thing I have going for me is that I don't look very much like a boy right now, and it's the middle of the summer. Maybe everyone will forget about me if I simply appeared as Nicole. If I'm real lucky, I might be able to make it for a few days before everyone figures out that I'm not a girl. I can hardly wait to see what my parents will do. Mom will agree with the coach, while Dad will tell me that I'm the one that stuck my neck out and I have to live with the consequences. Dad's real big on right and wrong, honoring your word and commitments. Since this took longer than I planned, I did not make it home before my folks, which means that they'll see me this way. Damn, all I wanted to do was be with Valerie. I opened the back door and walked in, but there was no way past the family room. All I could do was face them, and with the threat from the coach, I might as well tell them myself. I drew myself up straight and walked right in on them, only to see our neighbors sitting there with them. We traded stares for what seemed like an eternity, then, "You look very nice, dear, but why are you wearing Carol's cheerleading outfit?" I tried out for the cheerleading squad and was accepted, Mom. My dad choked on his drink while our neighbors smiled. Mom didn't miss a beat. "That's very nice, dear. Congratulations!" "You don't understand. I did it so that I could be with Valerie while she was at the camp this summer. I thought that she would be happy that I would go so far to be with her. I never planned on being accepted, but I was. The coach told me she knew I wasn't a girl, but she insisted that I won the spot fairly, and I now have to be there for the camp. Then, when school starts, all the games and so on." There was a sort of long pause. Then the lady next door spoke up. "I was a cheerleader at your school, and if they still do the same thing, there are a couple of huge dances for the cheerleaders, ball gowns and so on. Do they still do that?" I nodded my head yes, and caught Dad smiling, but Mom spoke next. "But that means that you'll have to become a girl all the time. All that travel, the games, this camp you mentioned, and so on. And with the number of games you'll have to be at, that can only mean that you'll have to attend both the camp and attend school as a girl." "That's what the coach said, but I was hoping you would say no. Then she can select the next girl to fill my spot." The baritone of my father cut through my mind like a knife when I heard what he said. "No. You agreed to try out, even though it was some kind of infatuation for Valerie, without one thought that some girl might not make it because of you. Myself, I don't particularly like the thought of my son dressing as a girl, but I like it less that you would do something like this without the slightest thought of the impact it might have on someone else. No, you tried out for the spot and won it, and as much as I might not like it, I'm going to insist that you do your best as a cheerleader, and if you have to attend school as a girl, then you will just have to do your best. By the time this is over, you will have learned a valuable lesson. By the way, did Valerie make it?" "No. She washed out, which makes this, This means that you did this for nothing, and now you're stuck with it. If we let you duck out on this, what else would you try and duck out on? How many times have I told you to keep your word? And how many times have I told you that we always have to face the result of our actions? All the time, Dad, all the time." Not only were my parents backing up the coach, both of them as much as told me I would be attending school as a girl if that was what I had to do to meet my obligations to the squad. "I think you're very cute. What name did you use tonight?" Our neighbor has a big mouth. "Nicole. I signed the sheet Nicole Lynn. We'll just go home now. It looks like you have a lot to talk about." I shut the door after the neighbors had left, then once again pleaded my case, and once again lost. My father was adamant about this, again telling me what I had done was wrong, and almost quoted the coach when he told me I would learn a valuable lesson from this. I'm a junior this year, which means that if I do become a girl this year, what about the next? How could I just drop out of sight now, then reappear as a girl and reverse it next year? I went up to my room to change, but when I was down to the bra and panties, Mom came in and shut the door. She didn't say much, but she told me that in the morning she and I would have an intensive talk, then she would turn me into a girl. She also mentioned that we still have all of Carol's clothes, which I could use if they fit me. Carol ran off right after she graduated, and we have not heard from her in almost 2 years. Using her clothes might be different if she had died, but since she didn't, Mom thought it would be okay. She left the nightgown on the bed when she left, and I just knew that I had screwed up big time. Right after breakfast, true to her word, Mom and I were in Carol's room, the door shut. You can make this easy on yourself, or you can make your own life miserable. If you act like a boy in a dress, everyone will know the truth. Then what? You might be beaten up or worse. But if you put everything into becoming a girl, acting like one, talking and walking like one, then nobody will know, and you'll just be another girl. It's up to you. I'll show you how to dress, teach you how to do makeup and hair, but the rest is up to you. Where is this camp, by the way? At State. All schools participate in one huge training session. The coach told me we would stay in the dorms. Why? Now then, just sit here and let's talk. I sat on the bed while Mom perched on the chair at the vanity. I know that you think this is stupid, and maybe it is, but you heard your father, and I can't find a reason to disagree with him. He and I talked last night, and we want you to understand that this is not a punishment. This is a way for you to learn what the term commitment means. You committed yourself when you won the spot on the squad, and all we are doing is helping you honor that commitment. If you decide to be just a boy in a dress, well, that's your decision. If you decide to make the best of it and act like the girl you are supposed to be, we are certain you will learn a lot from the experience, but you have a bigger problem, don't you? What? Think about it a moment. You'll be staying in a dorm with what? 200 girls? Sharing a room? Showers, changing clothes, and so on? All require nudity, and I'm sure that boys will not be allowed. And when you were found out, then what? Would you be arrested? Tossed out of school or worse? Prosecuted for peeping or something like that? Then there is all that bouncing, jumping, and cartwheels you'll be doing. I don't think it'll go over real well if one of those birdseed specials you have in your bra falls out, do you? I had not thought of any of that. Maybe I could get out of it now. I mean, how do you hide maleness? As small as I am, I still have the ultimate symbol of a male between my legs. When your grandmother had that cancer, she went to a clinic not far from here. I'm sure that they can help you, so let's get you dressed and ready to go. Do I have to do this, Mother? You heard what your father said, and you know how he feels about it, so the answer is yes. I knew that I didn't have a choice. Dad removed that option last night, just as the coach had. With a sigh, I pulled the nightgown off and stood there, waiting. Mom did not hesitate, and I was soon covered in a hair cream that removed hair. After a bubble bath and a short shower, I stepped out of the bath, my now silky smooth skin chilly in the air. With no body hair to keep me warm, and without the thin layer of fat women have under their skin, I was cold enough to raise duck bumps. The shivering was from the thought that when I emerged from this room, I would look like I was going to look for whole year. Mom handed me the panties, then something new Mom called a waist nipper, a bra, which I filled with the birdseed-filled nylons. Then she sat me at the vanity, and I got my first lesson on makeup application. It took me 3 tries before she was satisfied, but while I had been trying to do my makeup, she had been busy putting my hair into rollers. By the time I was done, she was also done. With a head full of rollers, my makeup on, and my small breasts poking out, I was almost afraid to see what the results would be. Last night, not one girl looked at me strangely, so I had managed to be good enough then. But today, it would be better, and I knew it. Mom handed me a padded panty brief that Carol had used before she filled out. Then I sat on the bed and pulled the pantyhose on. A short white slip was handed to me, and I stepped into it, followed by a short pink and white skirt, followed by a white blouse. Mom pointed at the white high-heeled shoes, and after I stepped into them, she moved me to the mirror. I had the right curves in the right proportion, the hem of the skirt exposing a lot of leg, while the round neckline of the blouse did not show anything. It hugged me pretty tight and left no doubt about my shape. Pink and white earrings, a gold strap watch, a pair of rings, some perfume. Then Mom took out the rollers and brushed out my hair. As I watched, she created a very feminine style that left me wondering how she did it. A reddish-pink lipstick, and Mom said she was done. I looked in the mirror again and almost choked. The girl that she had turned me into was more than cute, and I have a knockout figure. I knew that I looked pretty good last night, but this girl would have made me seem like a boy in a dress last night, and it had taken less than 2 hours. If that amount of time held true, I would be getting up at 4 just to be on time at school. The doorbell rang, and Mom told me I could not stay in my room all day, and took my hand as she walked into the foyer. There stood Valerie and two of her friends. They looked at me, not with eyes wide in disbelief, but wide, as in, "Who is this hot chick?" My father walked out just then and invited them to join us in the family room. Once everyone was seated, I was afraid he was going to tell them who I really was. "Is Adam here? I need to tell him something." "I'm sorry, Valerie, but Adam made a serious mistake last night, and as a result of that mistake, and his punishment, he will be gone for quite a while. By the way, this is Nicole. She'll be staying here with us for a while." I felt 3 pair of eyes on me. All I could do was smile and act demure, then hope they did not see through this charade. But how stupid could they be? As a boy, I disappear, then a new girl named Nicole shows up? In the same house? Even I could figure it out. But then, I'm the one in the dress. By the way, I'm sure that you know that Nicole made the cheerleading squad last night. Did you make it? No, I fell twice and washed out. But I saw Nicole last night, and she's really good. I'm sorry Adam isn't here to see you, but he might not be back for quite a while. Valerie and her friends gave me one last look, then left. I walked them to the door, then shut it before I heaved a heavy sigh of relief. I was pretty sure none of them saw through the makeup and found a boy, but that was a guess. They would not have said anything with my parents sitting there anyway, so all I could do was hope for the best. As soon as they left, Mom told me to sit. Then they faced me, a grim look on their faces. "Your mother told you about the clinic Grandma went to, so you know what they do there. In case you forgot, they do breast implants on women and girls that need them, for whatever reason. Now, we are not going to make you do anything. If you decide to attend this camp, just as you are, we're going to let you do just that. But when, not if, you get caught. As a boy in a dorm full of girls, you'll just have to take their punishment. You will attend this camp and be a cheerleader. That much I can decide. The rest is up to you." "You mean I have to have breast implants?" "No, of course not. Like I said, you can go just as you are. However, since you will be going, and that much is set, I'm sure that you don't want to face 200 or 300 angry girls, their coaches and parents, or the police, do you?" "But I don't want to have boobs." "Then don't agree." We were at a standoff. I didn't want boobs, and they weren't telling me I had to have them. All they told me was I would be attending both the camp and the school as a girl. Then they left it up to me. This is terrible. If I say yes, then they can always say it was my decision. And if I say no, I would have to face the music when I got caught. I had read in the paper and seen on television where they had thrown a few guys in prison for peeping, and I didn't want to go there, that's for sure. I met the doctor that does this, and I'm sure that she can help you in other ways as well, Nicole. More staring then, when I knew I had no choice. I said yes, but I asked one very important question. "Can she take them out later?" "Of course, if that's what you want." Mom told me to get the white purse and to put my wallet in it as well as my lipstick. As Dad watched, she and I left the house. I had a suspicion about what she meant when she said the doctor could help me in other ways, but all I could do was ride along as she took us across town, then parked in front of a small building. As we walked in, I could smell the distinctive aroma of a doctor's office and began to worry, but Mom merely patted my leg and told me, "Not relax." About 20 minutes later, a woman in a white coat walked out, greeted us by name, and took us into a small examining room. I was told to undress. I did not take as long to get out of everything, and I was handed one of those thin gowns doctors use. The woman examined my chest and genitals carefully. Then she stuck me with a needle. "You'll be awake, Nicole. This just relaxes your muscles so that I can get a good tone measurement." She used a caliper of sorts on my male boobs. Then I saw the scalpel in her hand. I tried to move but couldn't, and she made a very small slit on the right nipple, then used a tool to stretch my skin a bit. I watched her as she opened a package, took out a clear blob, and I knew that I was getting breast implants. She did one side, then the other, stitched the wound closed, then moved to my groin. Having seen the scalpel, I was very worried, but she used a bag of ice and her hands, instead of a knife, then a packet of some sort of glue. She was done with the whole thing in 2 hours. Then, when I was able to sit up, the first thing I did was feel my groin. As I expected, I did not feel the familiar lump, but a thin slit. A thin slit like a girl has. I was tender and sore as Mom helped me get dressed again. Then we went home, where I lay on my bed, just resting. Tears in my eyes as I saw the twin mounds that now defined the new me. Wearing a dress, as hard as it might have been possible, and I did have a small chance of pulling it off. But Mom did have a point about living in a dorm full of girls, and as I lay there, I wondered if my parents had some ulterior motive to do this to me. Then I realized that my parents simply made it easier for me to pretend to be a girl. I could now shower with the girls, undress with them, and so on, all without being discovered. The big question was, what would happen when they took the implants out? Mom came in and helped me take the bra off. Then she cleaned and changed the bandages. I know that you think bad of me, but it's the only way to protect you, Nicole. With your own boobs and no male equipment, how could anyone consider that you are a male? This is the only way. Later, after this is all over, if you want, we can have them taken out. What do you mean if I want to? Of course I do. Right now that's true, but a year, maybe 2 as a girl? Maybe you'll get to like being a girl and want to keep them. Now way, Mom. We'll see. But then you'll still have that round little bottom and narrow waist. Some girls like that in a man. My butt isn't round. It is now, Nicole. You just don't remember it because you fell asleep, but the doctor took a little fat from your waist and added it to your hips so that you don't have to wear a padded girdle all the time. She didn't do much, just enough. Now go to sleep. I'll check on you later. Hips, boobs, and a vagina. Other than having to shave, my parents had turned me into a girl in one day, told me it's for my own protection, then reminded me it was my decision. What a deal that is. Now where would I run? Anywhere I went, I would still have the boobs and so on. I must have fell asleep because it was dark when Mom helped me get to the bathroom, and I discovered how girls do it. Then, after that embarrassment, she wrapped a robe around me and walked me to the kitchen, and I had a light dinner. Dad was there, but he didn't say a word about my new boobs or anything. He just asked me how I felt, and that's when I unloaded on them. Damn it. It was just a way for me to stay with Valerie. I don't want to be a girl and don't know a damn thing about being one, yet you pay big bucks to have breast implants put in, my hips made bigger, and I no longer have any male equipment. Other than a beard, I look like a girl. This is so unfair that I can't believe you did this to me. I started crying, and Mom put her arm around me. We know that you think that right now, but later, after you have gotten used to it, having breasts will become normal, and you'll forget all about them. Everything we did was to make it easier for you to fit in as a cheerleader, and make no mistake about it, Nicole. You were going to fill that slot for the entire year, whether you liked it or not. You were the one that came home and dressed up, then tried out for the squad. Nobody made you do it. When we saw you that night, we both knew that you were pretty enough, and could do this if you felt safe enough, so we arranged for you to feel safe. Like I said before, if you want to give it up later, you can. That's up to you. Enforcing our morals is our job, and we are simply making you honor your word. Now quit crying and sit up straight. I did what Mom told me, ate a bit, then went back to bed. I let my hand find the slit. Then I rubbed it a bit. Nothing. I fell asleep, but didn't toss and turn because my boobs hurt. In the morning, Mom once again changed the bandages, then helped me put on a special bra, and watched as I pulled on clean panties that now fit me perfectly, a pair of lemon yellow shorts, and a white pullover top. I slipped my feet into my gym shoes, brushed out my messed up hair, then went to get a bite to eat. After breakfast, I'll help you get your makeup on and brush out your hair. You'll feel a lot better then. Right. But she was right. I did my makeup, just foundation, powder, and lipstick. Then she braided my hair into a single tail that had a yellow ribbon woven in. I looked better, and did feel better. That bra took the weight on my breasts, but was also soft on the few stitches. Mom and I went grocery shopping. Then, at the drugstore, she bought me a regular girl's wallet and some makeup of my own. I knew that the shorts I had on fit me tightly, and of course, no trace of a boy was evident. The gentle tapering from my waist and thighs defined a girl as well as any I had ever seen, and the white shell I had on did nothing to hide the way my breasts bounced or moved as the material hugged me closely, like many girls I had seen on television. Even my navel was showing. It was just my luck to meet the women's coach, the woman that had started all this, in the aisle where feminine products were shelved. "Hello? You look very nice, Nicole. Are you ready for camp?" Yes, I think so. Good. I'm looking forward to getting the squad in shape. I think we have a good shot at making the regional finals this year, which will give you girls a lot of exposure. Great! Right then, Mom walked up and told me not to forget the sanitary pads. She had told me I would have to wear one every day for a week, once a month. For the life of me, I could not figure out why. Both the coach and Mom watched as I grabbed the package and tossed it into the basket. I'm looking forward to having Nicole on the squad this year. She's very talented, you know. Her father and I have to figure out a way to get her enrolled first. Didn't she tell you? I made all of the arrangements. All she has to do is sign in at the office, and she will be given her class schedule. She must have forgotten in all of the excitement. I'm sure. Well, see you in school, Nicole. Bye. All day long I kept bumping my boobs, and twice more I used the bath. I was beginning to hate being a girl already. Every time I used the bath, I almost had to undress. The next day, I had the stitches taken out and was able to wear a normal bra. I wore a size 36A. Over the next few days, Mom and I eased into a sort of compromise. I quit complaining about dressing this way, having boobs and so on, and she quit nagging me about being a lady. She did tell me that the way I sat down was like watching a sack of wet cement hit the chair, and I had to endure an hour of rising, then sitting, until she said I had it right. I got used to the heft of my breasts and the way they pulled at my skin when I walked, and I understood why girls need to wear a bra. I started to be able to do my own makeup without help, and I hate to say this, but I got used to sitting down to use the bathroom. Then, on Thursday morning, Mom and I went shopping. Then she told me to pick out a swimsuit I liked. I had to try on several before she agreed on one. She and I also bought several new bras and packages of panties. Then she took me to her salon, and my hair was styled, set on a soft perm, and I had my nails done. As I watched the woman work on my hair, I realized that I did look good. Better, in fact, than some of the girls I knew at school. I think that's when I simply accepted the way things are. My hair was dyed blonde, and a soft curl was set into it, so it would almost always fall into place, yet I could brush it out in any of several different styles. My eyebrows were plucked just a bit to thin them out, and at my request, I had my ears pierced. I was still in the chair when I saw Valerie and her mother walk in. Of course, she saw me, and immediately walked over and asked me if she could come over to my house later. I said yes. I had nothing to lose now. I was Nicole, and could prove it. Mom and I left the salon, and as we walked along and I saw my reflection in the various windows and mirrors, I was constantly amazed at the way I looked. Not bad at all. My back went straight, my boobs stuck out, and I was smiling for the first time in a long time. I saw some boys from school watching me, and to tease them, began to sway my backside a bit more, just to see what would happen. What happened is that Mom asked me if I was a tramp, and when I said no, she told me to quit walking like one. But I had tasted the thrill of having someone look at me with lust rather than distaste. It was an entirely new experience, and I loved it. The minute we got home, I went to my room and changed into the new suit. The dark green bikini bottoms fit perfectly, and the top, while covering me completely, left no doubt that I was a girl, from head to toe. That's when I began to wonder about my thin beard. I still shaved, but only twice a week, which was still more than any girl I knew. But I didn't know how to get rid of a beard. I still had the suit on when Valerie stopped by, so when Mom called me, I slipped on my gym shoes and walked down the stairs wearing it. For whatever reason, Valerie stared at me. Then she and I walked out on the patio. "I thought sure that you were my boyfriend, Adam. But I can see that you're not. He could never look like you do." Boy, did I ever want to tell her how wrong she was. But that was impossible. And how could I prove it? No matter what I said, all she had to do was look at me, and she would never believe me. Coach called me and told me that Heather fell and broke her arm in 3 places, and asked me to take her place. Isn't that great? We'll be going to camp together. That's nice, Valerie. Just then, Dad walked out on the patio and saw me in the bikini for the first time. Up to now, he had never seen my breasts or any sign of my new groin, and I heard him suck in his breath. But he recovered quickly and told me to change. We were going out for dinner. I let Valerie out, then went to my room to change. Hanging on the door was a brand new dress, a pair of shoes on the floor. I took the all into my room, opened the bag, and saw the dress. It took me an hour to get ready, what with a shower, a close shave, then makeup, and getting dressed. I looked in the mirror, and while one part of me wanted to cry, the rest was smiling. The light purple dress was what I now know as an empire style. That means it had a round neck, a fitted bodice to just under my boobs, then hung straight down to my knees. The shoes were dyed to match, then earrings and necklace small pearls. Because of the perm, my hair popped right into place. I did my lips in a plum color, then used the new perfume on my dresser. By now, I wasn't the least bit worried at home, only outside the house. As I walked into the family room, I saw my parents, then neighbors, and Valerie sitting there. "Since you and Valerie will be on the squad together, we thought it might be fun for you 2 girls to get to know each other better, and invited her to join us for dinner, and you have met the Bensons." So, there I was, all dressed up, and the girl I did this for was sitting right there, smiling at me. She didn't seem to have a clue, but I could tell she was excited to make a new friend. Me. I did my very best to smile, then got in the car next to Valerie. Dad drove with Mom beside him, and our neighbors following along. Valerie was fairly quiet on the way over to the country club. Then, as we walked in, she became excited and pointed at a table. "See those guys over there? I think the one with the blonde hair is so cute. I've been trying to get his attention for a long time. Maybe he'll notice me tonight." She smiled at me, then pointed out that there was a boy there for me as well. "This is just swell. Now my girlfriend is trying to set me up with a guy I've known all my life." My second thought was less friendly. If she had been trying to get Ben to take her out, where did that leave me? And why did I ever try out for the cheerleaders if she was going to dump me for him? I was dumber than I thought. But what could I do about it? I had a whole year, maybe more as a girl, a cheerleader to go. If I were a girl and Valerie was a girl, what could we have except similar likes? If I wasn't around as Adam, there wasn't any reason for her to stay true to me, and it didn't sound like she had planned to be true anyway. I was angry at her, myself, and there wasn't a thing I could do about it. Except, dinner was a pleasant affair, and both the Bensons and my parents always referred to me in a way that made it seem as if I had always been a girl, which Valerie accepted. Later, after dinner when the music started, Valerie went to the restroom, but she went via the table with the boys and was swaying like an old car as she walked by them. I know she was hoping to get their attention. I remained at the table, and while she was gone, Ben, then guy she was after, walked over and asked me to dance. Not having ever danced with a boy, I was reluctant, but Mom told me to go ahead and go, so I let him take my hand and lead me to the dance floor. By the time Valerie returned, she had seen us dancing, and by the look on her face, she was furious. That's when I knew how to get back at her for wanting to dump me. I made the mistake that got me here, but I did it for her, and she was planning on dumping me, so when Ben pulled me closer to him, I let it happen. He smelled pretty good, and even in heels he's taller than I am, and from my new vantage point, he was kind of cute. I felt his hand on my back pulling me into him, and it made me feel very vulnerable. Gary, the other guy, had asked Valerie to dance, and she was across the room from Ben and I. A bit later, he asked me if he could take me home, and I glanced over at Valerie. Gary drove his own car here. He lives in the wrong direction from me. I was about to leap off a bridge, and I knew it, but it would drive Valerie crazy. I'll have to ask. You better come too. Well, I asked, and Ben got that look all boys get when they want to take a daughter away from her parents. But Dad finally said yes, then told me to be home no later than midnight. That was an hour and a half from then. That's a long time and everyone knew it. Ben and I danced a bit more, then I grabbed my purse and we left. As expected, he stopped the car by the fourth hole, under a big tree, and pulled me over, then kissed me. When that happened, I felt a shiver go down my back. Was it fear or what? He kissed me again, then again and again. By then, I had simply given up and had laid back in the seat. That's when his hand found my breast. It never felt like that when I touched myself, and I quickly pushed him away and told him to take me home. Neither Mom or Dad asked me how I liked having a boy pay attention to me. I liked it. During that next week, Mom and I went shopping several times so that I had everything I would need at the cheerleading camp. Sweats, shorts, more panties, and 2 more bras, 3 nice skirts and blouses to match, a dress for church, and shoes. I also packed the sanitary pads, as she instructed. Mom and Dad both came along as I was assigned a room, and made sure I was settled in. I was rooming with 3 other girls from our squad. I did not know them very well before that day. We had our own bathroom, but there was a communal shower just down the hall. After we were all situated, we met in a large auditorium and learned the rules. First, no boys in the dorms at any time. The second was the same as the first. That night, 2 of my roommates stripped naked right in front of me, then grabbed a towel and sauntered to the showers. I had always dreamed of seeing a bunch of naked girls in one place, but now it didn't matter. I also stripped and walked naked to the shower. My eyes took in the variety of girls there. Boobs big and small, butts big and small, some round and some flat. Others had trimmed their groins into shapes, like hearts or triangles. 22 of everything, not including my own. Not one girl gave me a second look, including Valerie. She had an okay body, I guess, but compared to some of the others, a dud. I half expected the glue the doctor used on me to break away, but nothing happened at all. We all wore shorts and tees the next day as our training started. Our coach knew the truth about me, and also knew that I was stronger than most of the girls, so I was the one to flip the girls as they took a running jump. All day, every day, we practiced, and I began to see how snippy the girls really were. They talked about the other girls in ways I never imagined, and the 4 of us began to shower together, eat together, and once more. I was in my bed. I shared a room with Beth when she slipped into my bed. I lay there wondering what she was up to when her hand fell on my breast. I lay perfectly still as her lips fell on my nipple. Then her tongue began to caress it. I was going crazy with all of the new sensations, and I touched her breast. With almost no effort, she pushed me down, then lowered her head between my legs and started to kiss me there. When I touched myself, it was like nothing at all. But when Beth kissed me, I felt my back arching, hoping to make her continue. Then it was my turn. I never knew girl could do that. In the morning, Beth got up and went to the shower as if nothing had happened at all. I brushed my teeth really well that day, then dressed in a short skirt and a tee, ready to start the practice. I grew to believe that Valerie suspected something, but I was taking showers and so on with the other girls, and if I had been a male, they would have come and got me, so she had no basis for her suspicions. Every Saturday night, they took us all out to eat at some fancy place and let us loose for a few hours. By the time camp was over, my mannerisms had developed to the point that there was no way anyone could ever say I was a boy. The coach said she was very pleased and would see us all in school. Ben was with my parents when they came to get me. I was delighted to see him and kissed him right in front of my parents and in broad daylight. That garnered a few catcalls from the other girls, but I held on to Ben's hand to show everyone that he was mine. My first day at school was easier, since every girl on the squad now knew me well, and they all knew that I had a boyfriend. I had thought about that after Ben had kissed me that first night at the club. I look like a girl, feel like a girl, act like a girl, and to my great surprise, I liked being a girl. After 2 weeks of seeing naked girls every day, it no longer bothered me, and I started to want to be able to be exactly like them. I wanted to have periods and be able to have sex if I wanted to, with a boy, not a girl. That thing with Beth was very nice, and I would do it again. But she's a girl, and well, I wanted to be a real girl with a real boy. As it always in a high school, we started pairing off right away, and of course, it was Ben and I. Gary and Valerie were still going out, but he was second on her list. He just didn't know it. Dad knew when I returned from camp that something had changed, and it had. I no longer felt awkward and unable to compete with the other girls. He had thought of this as the honorable thing to do, but he was wrong. It was exactly the right thing for me. After 7 weeks as a girl, I liked it more than I ever imagined possible. And of course, having my own boobs and what looked like a vagina, I was in effect a girl. Even the other girls had no clue to my real identity, and they could attest to the fact that I am a girl. The coach never said much about it, even when she saw me naked that one time. But I know that what my parents had made me do was beyond what she thought would happen. She probably thought I might try and fake it and get caught. Ben and I started going out after school. Then he asked me out to the show. Dad almost swallowed his tongue when Ben showed up, took my hand, and we left. Mom was grinning. We went out every weekend for about 2 months. Then, once, when I was dressed for a game, he parked out by the lake. When his hand touched my breast, I thought I would faint from the pleasure. His hand on my leg was moving north, and I let it. Then, he touched me, and I exploded inside. I quickly moved away, and he took me to the game. Afterwards, he and I went for a burger and a drink. Then, once again, he took me to the lake. It was a passionate time as he managed to get his hand under my sweater, then under my bra, and cupped my right breast in his hand. I had never felt this way, and as he used his fingers on me, his other hand slipped between my legs. I knew he was excited and moved his hand out of the forbidden zone, then touched him. My feelings had all come to a point, and I had touched another boy in lust. Quicker than a wink, he had his tool out, and my hand was wrapped around it. As he lay back, I stroked him, then, in a fit of need, I kissed it. My lips just caressed the tip when my tongue flicked out. Ben was moaning, and I knew what I was going to do. Velvet over hardness, so familiar, yet so different. I let my lips surround him. Now there was no going back. I wouldn't even if I could anyway, and didn't feel bad that I had done that for Ben. Besides, I know of 3 other girls on the squad that have done the same thing for their guys. By the time he took me home, I was on cloud 9 and didn't care who knew it. I told Mom the next day that I was not returning to my manhood. All she did was smile and tell me she knew that already. Dad finally understood when he caught Ben and me kissing on the porch. From that moment, there was no more pretending. I stayed with the squad through every game, every glittering dinner, every dance. By senior year, I wasn't just another cheerleader, I was captain, center stage, and living a life I never thought possible. Ben is still here for now, but the clock is ticking. Graduation means goodbye. And yet, even if he leaves, even if everything changes, one truth remains. I can't imagine going back. What began as a prank has become something else entirely, something I never planned, never dreamed, but now can't live without. The real twist? I'm not sure I want the punchline to end,